Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we will have a lesson in which we will be pushing the boundaries of our canter and exploring a little bit and see if we're ready for the next few steps when it comes to canter. So we will be trying to make tighter circles and see if we can handle those tight circles and see if we can keep the same bend, the same suppleness, etc. And we will also be starting on our first few simple lead changes. So just in the first few steps here, waiting for my coach, so I'm just going to warm up my horse. So I did a little bit of walk, I'm pushing to the trot, and I will also warm her up at the canter. I feel like Hazel is still a little bit anticipating the canter a little bit. I don't know if she's anticipating the workload of it or the collection during the canter work, but sometimes you just have to get at least one or two canter out of the way so you can actually get a good focus for the lessons. So I just went across here my diagonal, warming her up on the other side as well. Really important to change direction, to make sure you focus on the bend, on the connection the whole time, so you can ensure you're setting yourself for success. I really like to play with things when I feel like she's a little stiff on one side or the other. I like to work a little bit with her, do some little side passes. Do some emphasis on the bend if ever I need it. And as you can see here, the first canter wasn't the most horrible one. It is a little bit rushed, as you can see in the back here, and she's not properly balanced, but overall it's not the worst canter we've ever seen. So keep on working the canter on the same direction here. This is her weakest direction. I've noticed that in the last couple of weeks, I've seen a noticeable difference between her weaker side and her stronger side. They're starting to get a little bit more even. Unfortunately, we had to muscle up that one side of hers that was a little bit more in need for muscle tone. So we worked on that side a little bit more than we did on the other direction, and it seemed to have paid off. She is getting herself a little bit more balanced and a little bit smoother in between both directions, to a point where I feel comfortable starting lead changes, for example, because I know that she's doing pretty good on both sides and she's not anticipating as much, she's not rushing through as much as before because her muscles are properly put together on that direction as well. So Hazel's doing pretty good so far. We're slowly getting warmed up and being ready for a lesson. So we're just waiting a few more minutes for my coach to show up so that we can start our lesson. Today seems to be a beautiful day, and we have lots of things that we'll be able to show you today. I'm actually pretty excited. That lesson was actually pretty amazing. I've noticed a lot of changes in the last few lessons. It seems that Hazel was ready to incorporate a little bit more notions of the past and put everything together. So it seems like all the puzzle pieces are finally coming together when it comes to the trot, comes to the canter as well. We're achieving a way better canter and trot, a little bit more collection, a lot of rear end engagement. So I'm overall really pleased. So my coach just arrived here, so the lesson's about to start. So my coach just arrived and settled here on the side. And the first thing that she does is always making sure that the horse is properly warmed up. So she'll ask me a few questions, such as, how is she feeling today? What did you do so far? And things like that, just to see if we're almost ready for the lesson. So here I'm just going in circle here, telling her a little bit about what happened either in the previous days or just before she arrived, so like that she hasn't missed anything. And we're also testing here the bands and how she's carrying herself. So my coach gets a pretty good idea, but it seems like she's pretty warmed up. She's getting a good band. She's pretty upbeat, so that's pretty great. So it seems we're gonna have a great lesson. So we are about to start our first exercise, which is the spiral. For some of you that have been watching my video for a little bit, you have noticed that we've done that exercise in the past at the trot. So it basically consists of making circles, like going spiraling inward. So basically you're going to try to get your circle to get smaller and smaller and smaller each time. So we're doing it here at the trot, and we will try it in a moment at the canter as well. So you get a good feel of the idea of the actual spiral. What is really important with the spiral is that you take in from all sides of the circle, and then you go as small as you think that you can keep it. With Hazel, we didn't go that tight at this time, but we can go a little bit more inwards. The importance is that you want to make sure that the horse is supple and that the band is proper. So that's why we do this exercise. It's a little bit of a warm-up, but it also helps testing where she's at mentally and physically. So we're just doing the exercise on the other side here, and my coach has to go get one of her dogs. So in this meantime, I'm just getting myself a little bit more organized and just take care of things that bother me. So I was starting to get a little bit hot, so I was trying to remove my little jacket while keep on, getting Hazel engaged, just so she doesn't cool off completely while she is doing that. So I just like to kind of work on little things that bother me. Sometimes I feel like she's a little tight on the shoulder, so that's something I'm gonna work on. In this case, she was pretty good. I just felt like on the right hand, she was a little bit more tight. So just working through that while I'm removing my jacket. So here, continuing with the same exercise here, I just really like to make sure that I get exactly the same exercise on both sides. For me, it's really important that the muscle builds symmetrically. If not, if it is because she has a huge weakness like she had in her front left diagonal, then we had to just really do a lot of work at it. So as you can see here, my transition to canter was pretty smooth, and we're gonna try to do the same exercise and get that little canter kind of a spiral exercise and see how far we're taking it. So my coach wants to see how she's doing today at the canter first, and then eventually here I'm gonna start trying to get inward and a little bit more inwards and see how tight we can bring that circle. So see, I lacked of legs. I was missing some leg. So we're redoing the same exercise in the same direction and see if I can bring that circle a little bit closer. But overall, I'm really happy with Hazel's shape. She was doing really good. She was working hard because those tight circles are a little bit harder at the canter, and she really has to balance herself a lot more. But as you can see here, I'm pretty satisfied because her canter circles are almost as small as her trot circles. So it was pretty good. I will have to work on my transition just to see if I can get those a little bit smoother next time. But overall, at least she was a trooper, and she definitely powered through that that spiral. So we're gonna do the same exercise on this hand as well. So as you can see, this canter is a little bit more flowy, a little bit more engaged. That's her easiest direction, so it's a little bit easier for me to manage, and I don't have too much to handle in my hand. You'll also notice that her head is a little bit more in the game than it is on the other side, so that's something that we're working on. Sometimes when she's putting a lot of strength in getting herself organized for the canter, she kind of tends to lock her head a little bit to the inside shoulder, so that's something we'll be working on slowly. Definitely eventually we'll be able to change the bit as well, and maybe give her a little bit more freedom. She's currently going into a French link, or actually an olive link Pelham, which is pretty mild on her, but it's just that it forces a little bit of that nose in kind of position, which sometimes might make her think that we want her head or her nose to touch her shoulder, which is not the case. So here, same thing, trying the same exercise as well on the other side again, and as you can see, we're doing pretty good so far. Sometimes when I feel like I'm not having the control that I want, I'm gonna just try to change the shape a little bit and try to gather these legs again, but overall she's doing pretty good in that direction as well. And here comes the ultimate exercise of the day here, and it is the simple lead change. So that's something I've never done before. So my coach was trying to explain to me how she wanted it done, and I had just a little bit of a hard time understanding exactly how and where to go. So basically what you want to do for a simple lead change is basically put the horse into a canter. And then midway through your diagonal line, you're gonna ask for a walk. You would want maybe 1 to 3 steps of walk, and then bend the horse in the opposite direction and ask for the canter. So with time, eventually that will become more automatic for the horse to kind of change their legs when you're changing direction, but that's basically the little first exercise to get that done. So I don't have any issues putting Hazel in the canter. That's not my issue. The issue that I'm having here is when I get to the center point, when I have to ask her quickly to walk or to trot, sorry, I'm not able to get that done. It's just the downward transition are taking a little bit more time than needed, which makes me miss the actual center. So that's something I'm just gonna have to work on a little bit, just because I know that Hazel takes a little bit of time to go downward, basically from canter to walk or canter to trot. That's definitely not working in our favor here. So that's some quick exercises such as like putting the horse in a canter, putting it back to the trot, and doing all kinds of quick transition will be able to help us a little bit get that done. But like I said, so it's a simple, very simple exercise. It's just that you have to have your horse either stop or walk in the center of it, so you can actually change your bend using the proper leg, and then you get into the proper lead for the other side. So as Hazel gets a little tired, she gets a little bit rooty, so that's something I do not allow her to do anymore. Would it be just a small rooting, a small pulling down, she's not allowed, so I will back her up if need be. So we'll be changing here our direction and see if we can get that from that another angle to get to that center point. So one of the things I'm thinking I'm going to do soon as well is to put either some cones or something like that, so I know where the center point is, because sometimes I have an issue with distance, and I have to be able to gauge that a little bit better, so I know exactly where she's supposed to walk and where she's supposed to canter. So we're gonna try that a couple times, and you'll see it gets better every single time. Like I said, sometimes I do have some issues with distance, and I'm not good at gauging where the center of things are. So that's something I have to personally work on. But other than that, I think I'm doing pretty good. It took me a little bit as well to understand exactly what my coach wanted, where to start the diagonal, where is the center, and what I should do next, as to, you know, counterbend the horse and get them to pick up the other leg. So that's something I've never done before. And as you can see here, Hazel is doing like a canter, kind of a canter side pass, just because she's giving me such a hard time to just go a little bit slower, or just go back to the walk. Her downward transition definitely needs some work in terms of accuracy, but that's something we discovered now, so we'll be able to work on it in the future. So taking a little break here because we're getting both a little bit too much into the exercise here. So we're just taking a step back just so I can collect my thoughts, collect my horse, and get started again and see if we can get that done. I always want to end the lesson on a high or a good note, and we weren't really successful in the first few times. So I really want to get at least one good one, and then we'll call it a day. So here, if you pay attention, we'll be pretty successful at getting to the center point and turning around. which is not too bad. So it's her first time doing it properly. And then I'll try to do it in the other direction here, which I missed the center point again to get her to basically walk for me, so I could actually catch the other one. Sometimes I try, it's not I'm not trying, really hard to get her to go to the downward transition back to the walk, but it's still a little bit too much or a little bit over the top for Hazel right now, just because she's getting a lot of signal like, okay, stop, 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 and it's getting a little bit overwhelming. So either sometimes she pushed through, which is what she does, she just did now, she just pushes through the exercise here and just keeps on cantering, or she will actually walk. But right now, since it's the first time we're doing this, it's a little bit all over the place, so we really have to collect our thoughts a little bit and get that done together. So here, this is what happened when Hazel is a little bit pushed to her limit there. So she tends to do things like this, which are a little bit hard. So what she does is she either locks herself, either by her head, by her shoulders. She kind of just locks herself a little bit, and it makes it a little bit harder for me to kind of push her through the exercise. So here, as you can see here, by going sideways or doing all of that, she's just kind of avoiding the workload, which can be a little bit tricky for me because I have only so many aids that I can put on either my hands or my legs, and so just a lot of little management, and that's what tends to happen when she is tired. So what I have to work with her is to push her a little bit out of her comfort zone, little by little, so we can actually increase that endurance, and we'll be able to actually finish her lessons all in full energy and have good results all the way through the end. So same here, that's something that happens a lot when she is a little bit tired. There's only so much she can handle in one lesson, and that's usually something that she does. So she will walk sideways, sometimes she's going to go backward a little bit too fast, and just basically not following my directions here. So we're off the frame here a little bit, but basically what happened is she was not going forward at all. So she was either going laterally or going backwards. Even though I'm giving a lot of room with my hands, she was just not in the right headspace to kind of just go forward, and I just had to kind of keep on pushing until I can get her forward. So you will see that sometimes past that resistance bar here, we can get some good things achieved. It's just that I really have to push her through that mental barrier she puts in her brain. And overall, after that, she kind of performs really good. It's just that we hit a point usually after 30, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, around there, where she's just getting tired and she's not putting herself like a lot of effort into the work anymore. Just because she wants to either be done for the day or move on to something else, and that's something we're just gonna have to work through, because she is a true trooper from the actual beginning of the lesson. She always takes you on, and she's really happy to work until she gets tired, where she's just a little bit more wishy-washy about it and just a little bit more disconnected from the work. So we just have to really keep her focused into it and just, you know, kind of reassure her that it's gonna be over soon. We just gotta push and just stay consistent all the way to the end. after a nice cool down here, the lesson is officially over, so we're just gonna cool down a little bit. Hazel worked up a good sweat. She's a bit of a heavy sweater. She sweats a lot in the summer, all the way through the fall as well. She kind of just tends to do that. She also drinks a lot of water, so I'm not really worried about that, but that's something that tends to happen. So this summer she's been really blessed because she's had a lot of shower and a lot of rinses as well, to keep that skin healthy and shiny the way you see it here. You can also purchase the Equifuse line if you'd like your horse to be as shiny as Hazel. It's really great products. They help to keep your horse really shiny and keep the hair healthy as well. I really recommend it. It's a 6 product line, and it does your mane, your tail, and keeps your horse shiny for a little bit longer. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope that you really liked it as much as I liked filming it for you guys. So today was about pushing your boundaries, pushing your limits, testing your limits a little bit. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this and have learned something new. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye for now.